JC Tickets provides first-class trips to Ravens road games, including airfare, 4-star hotels, game tickets, and cocktail parties. We also help provide great seating locations to all Ravens home games. JC Tickets, where the games begin. Visit us at jctickets.net.
Ravens Wrap is sponsored by Bud Light, jctickets.net, Geico Insurance, Dunaway Furniture, Ocean City Golf Club, RussellStreetReport.com, Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Holiday Inn Express, BuyAToyota.com, your official site for Toyota deals. The original Green Turtle, hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
Welcome back in. It is the original Green Turtles Ravens Wrap Show right here on Comcast Beach TV, 47 ABC, WNDT, and 93.5 The Beach. As well, you're number 7. It's hard to believe.
Wow.
I mean, as we recap the first half, I'm thinking back. It's hard to believe this is year number 7 for me. Bobby, you've done this longer than I have. Spencer, I know it's your first year, but time flies with things. Well, this is already your third time up here.
Third time, enjoying it.
Oh, crazy stuff. Mike Bradley, Spencer Tillis, and Bobby Vermillion on the set. We want to wish everybody an early happy Thanksgiving. We will not have a show next week. We'll be back on Wednesday, December 3rd. Don't forget, we want to see all Ravens fans down here. We've got ticket giveaways, hotel stays, Bud Light prize packages as well. And don't forget to check us out 7:30 on 47 ABC on Saturday nights, noon on Sundays as well, 11 a.m. on the radio on 93.5 The Beach, and all different times throughout Thursday through Sunday on Comcast Beach TV. Ravens Roost 44 is in the house. We're coming to you from
44.
There we go. Coming to you from the Ravens Room at the Blue Ox Bar and Grill, 127th Street and Coastal Highway in Ocean City. A lot more to get to, so I want to get rapid fire and get into this here, guys. Let's give out some grades here quickly, though. We gave out offensive grades or just as a collective whole, but let's go by position quickly. Quarterback, your grade.
I'd go with the B, like I said.
You go with B?
Go with
Okay.
the
B minus, I think.
Okay.
B minus.
I'm B minus too. Some interceptions in a couple of those games. I think that for a 7th-year guy shouldn't be the case, but he started out hot, and all in all, let's hope that things get better. He's had some difficult situations to deal with at times, lack of protection, not an emerging number 1 receiver, so we've got that. Running backs,
Don't forget about the Tampa Bay game.
No, that's true.
That was A+.
It was A+, yeah. Running backs. I've got to give those guys like an A-, I think, or B+, A-, right there.
Yeah, I was going to go A minus too, strictly off of what you expected with the situation going in. I mean, I don't think you would have ever thought that you could get this much out of Forsett at the beginning of the year after losing Ray Rice. I don't think they expected to get that type of production. But with what they've had versus what you expected, I think it's got to be an A minus.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree. A minus probably a good grade for that group. I mean, a lot more than we expected. But again, it's hard to talk about that performance without talking about the offensive line. They got to be lumped in there. But I wouldn't give them an A minus.
Wide receiver, I'd give C.
Yeah.
Except for Steve Smith, I'd probably give him.
Well, that's why they have a C. Otherwise,
yeah,
they'd be getting
you're
a
right.
B.
As a group, yeah.
I think it's a solid C.
As a group, probably C+, maybe.
Tight, and I'll differentiate tight ends. I'll give those guys an A.
That's a tough one, too. I think same situation there with the running back. I mean, versus having to come in and fill up space. I think they're doing a pretty solid job. I don't know if I go with the A. I mean, they're probably a B+, somewhere around there for me.
I'd probably lean more with Spencer with the B+ than the A. Again, losing Dennis Pitta, as much as Daniels has played, been able to stay healthy for the most part, and then a rookie would say never expected Crockett Gilmore to play this many snaps this year. So B+, I go with B+.
With the offensive line, because they've cooled a little bit recently, I'll give them a B-, but certainly a marked improvement over last year.
I give them a solid B, I think.
I agree. I would say B, and I would say particularly because of the injuries to the offensive line and the new parts. I mean, when you take a guy who just started for the first time in Ricky Wagner, a new center, a left tackle and a left guard that was injured, and you had 2 rookies in there for a couple games, that's huge. So the fact that we can say that and still give them a B, I think is, it bodes well for this team if they can stay healthy the rest of the season.
Defensively, because we talked about Justin Forsett being the MVP on the defense, the emerging guy. I want to start with defensive line. I give those guys on the defensive line, I'll give them a B+. But I think Brandon Williams defensively, he might be the unsung hero of the team this year if we're giving out awards at that nose tackle spot. But I think I'll give those guys a B+. Haloti Ngata has had his best year in a couple years. He stayed healthy. Him, Brandon Williams, Pernell McPhee, some other guys in there, Chris Canny. They've done a real nice job in that 3-4 defense.
Yeah, I go B+ there as well. I mean, we're getting picky. Again, we would like to see a little more of a pass rush against some of the better lines, but I mean, for what you're asking them to get done, they've done this phenomenal job, I feel like, this year so far.
Yeah, the complete body of work, probably a B+, as you alluded to. You know, Williams has had a good year. I think he's been a big factor. And Bruce actually talked about this during the season. Haloti Ngata has not had good years over the past couple of years.
He's been injured.
Obviously, he's got a contract year coming up. Could be a big factor. But the key there, again, two things, I think. Number one, he stayed healthy. I think that's the big factor. And number two, he has help. We've got a good rotation in that defensive front, particularly with Jernigan coming back, and you can give him a blow every now and then, and he doesn't feel like he has to, carry the team. And they're not moving him around nearly as much. They're keeping him at nose tackle, which is a big factor. He can play one position and not have to move around that front of the defense.
Linebacker-wise, I'll give a B- there. I think we do need, against the better teams, to get a better pass rush from our outside linebackers. Few games this year, Darrell Smith's been inconsistent. Mosley's been great, but I'll give them a B-.
Yeah, I think it's a solid B again for me. Mosley has just been phenomenal. I mean, what a gem they got out of that guy. But you're right, a couple other pieces, not there the full season, but has been pretty solid.
I'm going to go a little higher. I'm going to go B+ from the linebacker position. When you can plug in a rookie and he leads the team in tackles, you got a veteran, Darrell Smith. He's not a young buck, but he's playing pretty well. And then Dumerville and Suggs have had pretty good years. You got to say Dumerville has had more sacks than we anticipated probably moving into this year. And then Courtney Upshaw, he's just been a guy. I know he plays more like a defensive end, but he's been a guy that's just a good, solid football player. Not a big factor in pass rushing, but a guy that does make some plays and is a difference maker, I think, on the defense.
We'll wrap things up. I think we can all agree with the secondary D or Fs, what have you.
Yeah, it's not good.
Not pretty.
We'll move on from that. The Ravens and the Saints, Monday Night Football, 8:30 in New Orleans. The Ravens have played 8 times on Monday night under John Harbaugh, and they are 5-3. And the Ravens, under John Harbaugh, going back to 2008, have one of the NFL's best records of the month of November at 21-8. Just above them, the New Orleans Saints at 19-7, so something to have to watch out for. And going back to 2008, AFC's best records against the NFC, the Ravens second at 18-9. But let's talk about this New Orleans Saints squad that we come in and face, and a team, Spencer, we talked about this before the show, they've lost 2 straight at home. That is unheard of for the Saints to do so. And boy, the Bengals really gave it to them last week.
No kidding. I mean, they hardly ever lose a game at home as it is. To lose 2 straight in the fashion that it happened, I mean, they were looking at this 3-game homestand as a chance to kind of right the ship, get a chance to maybe make up some ground in that division. They lose a tough one to the Niners, and then they just got handled by the Bengals, a team that has been maybe one of the most inconsistent teams here in the league, it feels like. But that's a tough one to figure out right now. I don't know what is going on with the Saints. They just haven't looked the same since they've lost Sproles on the offensive side. The defense, I think, took a big step back this year as well.
Don?
I tell you what, this is a tough team to figure out. The NFC South is a tough division to figure out.
Yeah, they're 4-6, and they're right at the
there.
top. Yeah.
But, against Cincinnati, that was a team, you figured the Saints would show up at home. They come off a tough divisional loss against the 49ers, as you alluded to, and then just completely lay an egg against the Cincinnati Bengals. And Cincinnati, very inconsistent, like you said, Spencer. I was hoping, obviously, that Cincinnati would lose that game, and then they'd face us. I don't think it bodes well that they've lost 2 at home, and then even though we're coming off a bye, going down there and playing, I know we're going to give our picks a little bit later, but I don't feel real good about this week. Let's put it that way.
Guys, some things they have done, though, this year. They've rushed for 1,247 yards so far after 10 games. Mm-hmm. For a team that throws the ball on average 13 more times, very impressive. Mark Ingram leads the way. He's really their only healthy running back that they have right now. Now, Jimmy Graham, he's a beast, tight end, 7 touchdowns, 59 receptions, but he's been taken out of some games this year, and he's had some big-time drops this year as well. So talking about at times some of the ineptitude of the offense, that's been part of the issue right there.
Yeah, you don't have to tell me about that. He's on my fantasy team, and he's been killing me this year. But no, Mark Ingram is so strange. In the first 3 years, he had, I think it was only 2 100-yard games, and then he had 3 straight at this point. And I don't know if he just got hot, if they just started relying on him a little bit more. But he's definitely come on, and I thought that would start to get that offense back to what you expected coming in, because they were kind of the darling pick to have a big bounce back year. And it just really hasn't, all the pieces haven't really fallen into place yet, but they just have too much talent for it not to at some point.
Their second leading receiver, by the way, Brandon Cooks, he's on IR. So it's Jimmy Graham, it's Marcus Colston, it's Kenny Stills, and they do distribute the ball around pretty evenly, Bobby. So it's kind of pick your poison there, although certainly you want to take Jimmy Graham away, and the Ravens have been good about taking the tight end away this year.
Well, we know what that team's all about. It's about the quarterback, Drew Brees. He's one of the elite quarterbacks in the league, albeit he hasn't played at an elite level this year. It depends who shows up. And they say age is undefeated. Well, he's a guy that maybe he doesn't throw the ball quite as well as he did last year or 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. It makes a difference. Some of his weapons, the rookie that they were counting on, Cooks, is out. That's going to be a big factor. But that guy, Jimmy Graham, he's definitely a difference maker. He is a little banged up with the shoulder, but so he's certainly going to play. This is a tough game for the Ravens, no question about it. It's a very tough matchup, particularly when you're struggling on the back end and you've got to face Drew Brees in the dome.
Defensively, they're not very good against the run, but they've had some decent games. It hasn't all been bad. Rob Ryan, their defensive coordinator, who we faced when he was D coordinator with Cleveland, so we have a little bit of an idea of what he wants to do with that 3-4. Curtis Lofton is their leading tackler, but Junior Gillette, the right outside linebacker, who will go up against Eugene Monroe, he leads the team with 6 sacks. Right defensive end Cameron Jordan, who will go up against our left guard in Eugene Osemele, that is. He's got 5 sacks, so that left side of the line will be tested on Monday night.
Yeah, but one thing they are doing is causing turnovers. They didn't have any last week. They only had 1 the week before. And when they made their run, when they won the Super Bowl, a few years back, that was what they made the time. I mean, it was a bend, but they got turnovers when they needed it. And as soon as you were giving the ball back to Drew Brees was what was really making them go. They haven't been doing that this year, and the defense doesn't necessarily really scare me too much.
Yeah, -9 in the turnover. They're tied for 27th in the league, so not very good. Bobby, offensively, is there any question? Obviously, establish the run, right?
You have to, and I think if the Ravens win this game, they have to do it on the offensive side of the football. I think the defense can play well enough to hold Drew Brees maybe to under 25. But this is a game where Joe Flacco has to earn his stripes. He didn't play well against Cincinnati, and he didn't play that well against Pittsburgh in the second game. He's got to play well this week. If the Ravens are going to win, they're going to have to score some points.
Let's get your predictions here as we
Unfortunately, I hate to do this, but I'm going to go against the Ravens. The Ravens are not going to go undefeated the rest of the year. This is the 1, maybe 2 games they're going to lose the rest of the season. I like the Saints 30-28.
I got the Saints, too. I think it's 27-24.
All right. Well, you know what? I was leaning the Saints, but they've lost 2 in a row at home. That's unheard of. Why not 3 in a row?
They say go with the streak. So
Ravens,
there you go.
Ravens coming off a bye. They know the importance of this game. I'll go with the Ravens in this one, 21-17. That's going to do it. Have a great Thanksgiving. We're back in 2 weeks. The Ravens Wrap Show, Comcast Beach TV, ABC 47 and 93.5 The Beach.
What's this all about?
We're giving Rich the NFL experience of a goal line dive.
Really?
There's an easier way to get an ultimate NFL fan experience. Just snap the tag wherever Bud Light is sold and you could win. Bud Light in the NFL. Here we go.
Can I make it?
On the internet, yes. Into the end zone, no.
JC Tickets provides first-class trips to Ravens road games, including airfare, 4-star hotels, game tickets, and cocktail parties. We also help provide great seating locations to all Ravens home games. JC Tickets, where the games begin. Visit us at jctickets.net.